So if you're confused as to why in the world we just played that song, this is our playlist series. And what we do in this series is we take songs that are not in the Christian genre, and we look at them. We take a look at what the message of the song is, and we compare it to the message of the Bible. We take what the artist says, and we compare it to what God says, and we're kind of discovering some things. The cool part is, maybe a lot of Christians would be surprised, but there's a lot of overlap sometimes. And songs that are written by people who aren't Christians, who don't know God at all, they write a lot of stuff that at least touches on some really, really deep biblical truths. So we're really discovering that. Now, sometimes they're way off. A lot of their observations are right on, but then their solutions are off. But that's okay, because it kind of lets us really examine the way they think. So the song you just heard is a song called Shallow, from the movie A Star is Born with Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper. How many of you have seen the movie? Have you seen the movie? Okay, not very many of you. So here's how it ends. I'm just kidding. Don't you hate it when people do that? I really hate it. The only thing, I hate spoilers. The only thing I'll tell you is there is a lot of music. There's a lot of singing in it. So if you don't like movies with a lot of singing in it, you might not like it. It was a good movie though. Even though I'm not into that, I was still a lot of depth to it. So the song, one of the most popular songs from the movie, hit number one on a lot of charts. Hopefully you've heard it before. So let's just look at the lyrics here. It starts off, "Tell me something, girl, are you happy in this modern world, or do you need more? Is there something else you're searching for?" So I love when they ask questions. Are you happy? Are you happy? Are you happy? Are you? That's a complicated question, isn't it? Can't just say yes. Can't just say no. But it's something to think about. Are you happy? Or do you need more? That's interesting. So the idea is that if you're not, then there must be something else out there that would help you be happy, right? And is there something else that you're searching for? Is your heart longing for something else? Is there something missing in your life? Interesting. Now, let's jump to the response here. Tell me something, boy. Aren't you tired of trying to fill that void, or do you need more? Ain't it hard keeping it so hardcore? So the next question here acknowledges that there's like a void in here. There's something in here that is missing, and this person's trying to fill it. To the point of like exhaustion, that there's a lot of energy exerted trying to fill some kind of a void in the heart. Lots of things have been tried to find satisfaction at like a soul level to fill that gaping hole in the heart. And then this is the one line in the song that I don't like. Ain't it hard keeping it so hardcore? It just reminds me of like third grade. That's so hardcore, man. Like, I don't know why. It's just, it rhymes with more, so I guess they needed it. But the idea is that this person, whoever it is, they're really trying to fill this void to the point that they've like pressed the gas pedal all the way down in life, and they're trying more and more things. There's almost a desperation to it, to trying to fill this void, because they haven't found it yet, and they need to find it, so they're trying more and more and more like dangerous things to see if that will do it. And it isn't working. And then this line that they both sing, really, really fascinating. I'm falling. In all the good times, I find myself longing for change. And in the bad times, I fear myself. So even when things are good, the heart is longing for a change. That's crazy, isn't it? That even on the mountaintops of life, your heart is like, I don't know if this is it. And that's frustrating, because your heart's the one that told you to go there, right? Like, the heart is the thing that told you to go in this direction. And then as soon as you get to that place, your heart's like, actually, it's over there. The thing you're looking for is over there. And then you run over here and you find out that it's not here either. Your heart's like a bad GPS, right? Like, you have arrived at your, oh wait, never mind. Like, and you just keep having to, every time you get to somewhere, you find out that the thing you were looking for isn't there. Even when you get what you want, something seems to be missing. And then the really honest line, in the bad times I fear myself. So when things are good, I'm still slightly dissatisfied. There's still something missing from my life. But when things are bad, I'm dangerous. I'm dangerous. It's a scary place to be. And then the chorus. I'm off the deep end, watch as I dive in, I'll never meet the ground. Crash through the surface where they can't hurt us. We're far from the shallow now. So there seems to be this desire for depth like built into this song, right? They don't want to live a shallow life, they want to live a deep life. And it's almost presented as the solution, right? Shallow life was dissatisfying, what I need is a deep life. But the cool part about the song is that it leaves it open to interpretation. Whatever you think it means to live a deep life, you get to decide that. And it's the deep life that will produce the happiness, fill the void, satisfy the soul. So depending on what you think it means to live a deep life, I agree. You will not find lasting happiness or satisfaction living a shallow life. You won't. You do need to go deep. But what does it mean? What does it mean to live a deep life? What does it mean to not try and find satisfaction in shallow things? What does that actually mean? So let me ask you, do you feel the way this song feels? Do you feel like a dissatisfaction in your life? Not all the time, right? When you get a new toy, you're okay for a while. When you get a new job, you're okay for a while. When you get something that's shiny and new in your life, you're okay for a while. But is there a nagging, gnawing sense that there's something else? That nothing works for long? That you're okay, but then that thing comes back. That longing, that searching, that void. It's not full. It fills up temporarily, but then it empties. There's this guy in the Bible who wrestled with these questions. He actually wrestled with these exact questions that are asked in this song. And he really dug into them. He actually spent his whole life digging into them. And he asked the question, what does it mean to live a deep life? What does it mean to fill this void? What does it mean to be actually like soul level satisfied in your life? And I want to look at what he has to say. Before we jump into that, would you pray with me one more time? Jesus, thank you for every single person here. I know, like on the surface, the reason some people are here today, Lord, but I also know that you have purpose beyond that. And I pray that you would work today, Lord, even in the person who's sitting here going, I was just here for the job dedication. When's this guy going to shut up? Lord, I pray that you would move in that. And that you would speak to that person, Lord, that I'd get out of the way and that you would be able to speak to us today and that we would be open to hearing what you have to say to us. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right, so the guy in the Bible that I want to look at, his name is Solomon. Okay, if you were here last week, we looked at David's life, and Solomon is actually David's son. So Solomon becomes king after David, and Solomon has a very different life from his daddy, okay? Solomon ruled in what is considered like the golden age of Israel, so everything was great. He had peace on all sides. He had like one war, but it was a joke. His daddy did all the wars, okay? All the wars for him. His daddy handed him a lot of things. Solomon really had everything in life kind of handed to him. But before you're kind of like mean to him and be like, well, I don't want to listen to a guy like that. Listen, he goes down in biblical history as the wisest man to ever live. And just a little side note, he asked God for wisdom and God said yes. So I get the whole like, ooh, man, I don't want to hear it from somebody who didn't earn their way in life. I get it, but he is the wisest man to ever live. Daddy was a warrior. Solomon was more of a philosopher. He was 20 when he became king. He ruled for 40 years. Richest, wisest king to ever sit on the throne. And honestly, he was the biggest ladies' man to ever sit on the throne as well. Solomon had it all. Had it all. Power, fame, wisdom, money, women, everything. Everything. He had it all. And towards the end of his life, at least I believe it was towards the end of his life, he starts to ask himself some questions that look a lot like this. Am I happy? Do I need more? Is there something else that I'm searching for? Are you tired trying to fill it? The answer to Solomon would say, yep. Do I need more? Yep. He did keep it hardcore, whatever in the world that means, Solomon did. And he wrote a book of the Bible about it. An entire book of the Bible he wrote about kind of these questions. It's called Ecclesiastes in the Old Testament. And I just want to, what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and fly through this because I took way too long talking about the cute babies. So I got to hurry and talk through this, but you guys can keep up. You're smart. So here's how it starts. Here's how the book of Ecclesiastes starts. Verse 2, everything is meaningless, says the teacher. Completely meaningless. Cheerful book. Cheerful book. He's an old man. He's at the end of his life. He's tried everything. And here's what the conclusions that he's come to. Verse 3, what do people get for all their hard work under the sun? Generations come and generations go, but the earth never changes. The sun rises, the sun sets, and then hurries to rise again. The wind blows south, then turns north, and around it goes, blowing in circles. Rivers run into the sea, but the sea is never full. Then water returns again to the rivers and flows out again into the sea. So he's pointing out the repetitiveness of the world, right? Things just keep happening over and over. And he seems mad at it, doesn't he? He seems mad at the repetitiveness of the world. There's nothing new under the sun is something that he says in this book all the time. There's nothing new, there's nothing new, there's nothing new. And he seems really frustrated by that fact. There's nothing new. And then he says this in verse 8. Everything is wearisome beyond description. No matter how much we see, we are never satisfied. No matter how much we hear, we are not content. Never satisfied, not content. That's his gut level feeling as an old man looking back on his life. And he's tired of that. He is tired of trying to fill that void. He seems to be coming to the conclusion that that void cannot be filled under the sun. That's what he says. The void, the thirst, the hunger of the soul cannot be filled. And he's trying to tell us, looking back as an old man, he's looking back on his life trying to tell us, hey, all that stuff you're trying to fill that soul level void, by the way, not going to work. That's what he says. Everything you're trying right now, if you're excited about a new job or some new girl you're dating or some new shiny toy that you're after or some vacation that you're looking forward to, Solomon says it's not going to do it. Just so you know. He's kind of that spoil sport guy who's like, I tried that, patting you on the head. But he is. That's what he's doing to you right now. Whatever you're trying in your life to fulfill your soul, it's not going to work. That's his message. Now, you might be sitting there going, who are you? What? You don't even know me, man. You lived like 3,000 years ago. Get out of my face. How do you know the things that I'm trying in my life aren't going to work? How do you know that thing that's got me excited right now ultimately is going to end in me feeling dissatisfied again? How do you know that, Solomon? That's a good question. I hope you're asking it. You shouldn't just listen to anybody, right? So do you remember math class in I don't know, high school, college? Remember math class? Math class is the worst, right? If you like math, I don't like you. Just kidding. Actually, I'm impressed. If you like math, good for you. To be fair, I actually did like geometry, but I think it was probably because geometry was less about numbers and more about logic. I really like that. I took pre-calculus in college, worst experience in my life. I genuinely hated it. It was one of those classes that every week built on the week before it, so if you fell behind, you just never, ever caught up. I still remember the day where I sat there and go, oh, okay, I'm done. I'm done here. Horrible, so let's not reminisce about my nightmares. Let me show you a sentence that drove you nuts in math class. Even if you liked it, well, maybe if you liked it, maybe you like this, but all the rest of the normal humans in the room, you hated this sentence. Here it is. Why? Right? Why you math teachers got to be such control freaks, right? I gave you the answer. I don't know. I mean, maybe you think I'm cheating, but whatever. The answer's not enough, right? I got to show you how I got the answer. Annoying in math class, but you know what Solomon's about to do? He's going to show his work here. He just told you, guess what? Everything you're trying in your life to fill that soul level void, it's not going to work. Let me show you. Let me show you. So he's going to go through the list, and he spent his entire life trying things to fulfill his soul, and he's going to tell us how it went. It's kind of this grand experiment. So here's what I'm just going to go down the line here. He starts in verse 13. I devoted myself to search for understanding and explore by wisdom everything done under heaven. I soon discovered that God has dealt a tragic existence to the human race. Wisest man to ever live. I observed everything going on under the sun, and really it is all meaningless, like chasing the wind. And then he continues in verse 18 on this subject. He says, the greater my wisdom, the greater my grief. To increase knowledge only increase sorrow. So what I want you to see here, the first place that he talks about searching for satisfaction is in his wisdom or learning or knowledge. He's trying to fill that void with these things. That's his first attempt. He thought, if I could just dig into things, if I just learn more and more about this world, that will do it. His curiosity and satisfying his curiosity, that's what he thought would do it. He wanted a bunch of letters in front of his name, the PhD, the MD, the MA, the BA, all those, and he had them all. He learned as much as anybody's ever learned. Like I said, he goes down in history as the wisest man to ever live. He climbed to the top of this mountain looking for satisfaction, and he found out it isn't there. Smartest guy to ever live. Said, hey, if you're searching for satisfaction in learning things, Solomon's like, hey, I'm up here. It's not here. That's his first thing. Secondly, he continues, chapter 2, verse 1. I said to myself, come on, let's try pleasure. Let's look for the good things in life. But I found that this too was meaningless. So I said, laughter is silly. What good does it do to seek pleasure? So the second place he looks, we'll just call it like laughter and silliness. It's almost like he tries to be happy by looking for happiness. Almost the opposite of like the learning thing, like, nose in a book, all serious, I'm going to learn a lot. And instead, he's like, close the book, forget this, let's party. Let's just have fun. Maybe that's where I can find satisfaction. I'm done being serious. I'm just going to have fun in life. I'm going to enjoy jokes and party and just live it up. Maybe that I'll find satisfaction. If it wasn't in learning, maybe it can be in being silly, kind of the opposite of learning. And he finds out. He climbs to the top of the mountain, top of party mountain, top of relaxation mountain, top of silly laughter mountain. He gets up there, and satisfaction isn't there either. It's not there. He's still got something missing. He continues. After much thought, I decided to cheer myself with wine. And while seeking wisdom, I clutched at foolishness. In this way, I tried to experience the only happiness that most people find during their brief life in this world. I just want to point out it was after much thought. Okay? Some of y'all don't think about this near enough. Okay? And then he just... No? Okay. You need to think a little bit more before you go here. And this is what he said. He said, okay, so learning didn't work. Just laughter and silliness didn't work. Maybe if I add alcohol into the mix, maybe then everything will be better. And he finds out that it's not there either. He climbs to the top of that mountain. And some of you already know that, right? Some of you, if you're trying to fill the gaping hole in your soul with alcohol and you pour as much down there as possible, you're not going to find satisfaction. You know that. You're going to find death down that road. He continues. I also tried to find meaning by building huge homes for myself and by planting beautiful vineyards. I made gardens and parks, filling with all kinds of fruit trees. I built reservoirs to collect water, to irrigate my many flourishing groves. So here, you might look at this and go, that's material things, but what I want to point out in this is work and projects and accomplishments. He's like, you know what? He couldn't be promoted anymore, right? He's king, so he can't go for promotion. He can't go for position anymore. So he starts these pet projects because he thought, maybe, you know what it is? It's that when you can step back from something that you did and go, man, that's awesome. He thought, maybe I can find satisfaction in that. If I can do enough projects, build enough homes, do enough gardens. He even set about to renovate all of the capital city. He wanted to make it amazing. He went Chip and Joanna Gaines on this thing, man. He was putting shiplap everywhere. It was great, okay? He was into this thing. He was renovating everything. And he thought maybe an accomplishment, maybe I can find satisfaction in setting myself up to have a bunch of projects to do. And he found that also didn't work. He climbed to the top of that mountain. He had more projects going than any of you handymans in this room put together. He had all that going on. He could step back and be like, look at this mansion. Look at this park. Look at this city that I built. Standing at the top of that mountain, still nothing. Still not there. Still not there. He continued. Those who love money will never have enough. How meaningless it is to think that wealth brings true happiness. The more you have, the more people come to help you spend it. What good is wealth, except perhaps to watch it slip through your fingers? So he goes to the grand mistake of our time, thinking that money will bring satisfaction. Now, I just want to acknowledge part of the reason we make this decision is because a lack of money can cause you to not be happy, right? If the electricity goes off, I'm not happy, right? So you look at that and you think, okay, lack of money equals unhappy, and you think the opposite's true. Unlimited money must mean unlimited happiness. You think, and somewhere in math class that I don't understand, that doesn't work. That equation does not carry all the way over. Because money and wealth does not equal happiness. So if you're sitting here looking at your financial situation, thinking if I just had a little bit more, I'd be satisfied. No, you wouldn't. Solomon had money, okay? That's it. Solomon had money, okay? When he drank wine, and he drank a lot, evidently, he drank it out of gold mugs. And when I say gold, I mean pure gold. You thought your crystal little wine glasses were nice. Gold, mugs, gold. He had around his throne 14 lion statues. How many lion statues do you have? 0. Shut up, right? Okay? If we measured wealth in lion statues, he's got you beat by 100%. He had golden shields made to hang on the wall, just because. You think, man, my mom has some dishes that we only use a couple of times a year. That's weird. Solomon had military equipment that was just for special occasions. Like, hey, if we go to war on Christmas, we're going to pull those down and they're going to look really nice. He just had money. As much, the Bible talks about in Israel during the time of Solomon's reign that silver became like pebbles, like kids were playing with it in the street because there was just so much to go around. He was money on top of money on top of money. He's at the top of the top of the top of that mountain. He's as rich as you could possibly be. And he's looking at you going, hey, guess what? It still doesn't do it. I have everything. And it still doesn't satisfy the silly amount of money that I have. And I still have this. There's still something here that's missing. So money doesn't work. And then the last thing that he says, I collected great sums of silver and gold, treasure of many kings and provinces. I hired wonderful singers, both men and women. I had many beautiful concubines. I had everything a man could desire. So I became greater than all who had lived in Jerusalem before me, and my wisdom never failed me. Anything I wanted, I would take. I denied myself no pleasure. So this is kind of his summary here, but I do want to look at just one thing in here because this is one of the most important one, this little concubine thing. And since it's Child Dedication Sunday, I won't get too graphic, but what this means is he's talking about the bedroom here. And just so you know, like if you look in biblical history, Solomon had 300 wives and 700 concubines. 700, that's 1,000 women, if you're not good at math. If he spent the night with one a night, it would take him 2 years to come back around to a second date. You follow? So what he's saying is, hey, guess what, guys? Satisfaction was not found in the bedroom either. I know you think that probably if it was just, a little more exciting, a little more of this. No. Solomon's like, I tried it, literally everything. And it wasn't there either. And I would even say it's not just a bedroom thing. I would even call it a relationship thing. Think about this. This is the biggest, bachelor show ever. He's got 1,000 women. 1,000! That's how many roses this dude has to have. I don't even know how the show works. I've never watched it. Any one of them could have been the thing, the one who fulfilled his soul. 1,000, he could get any girl he wanted. And he's like, guys, it didn't do it. That wasn't it either. By the way, again, I would say money and people are like the biggest lies of our time when it comes to satisfaction. You think money will do it, or you think that there's another human being will actually satisfy your soul. You think that. And our culture's told us that a lot. But Solomon's standing here going, hey guys, listen. Another human being, they can't do it. They actually can't fulfill that. Even that, as close as a person can get me, it still didn't satisfy. Still didn't do it. And he tells you there at the end, did you catch that? I tried everything. I denied myself nothing. It was a grand life experiment for me. I did anything I wanted on this earth. And nothing worked. So what I want you to see is I think God gave us a gift in Solomon. God allowed Solomon to experience everything the world had to offer to the highest heights, everything. If Solomon would climb to the top of the mountain, look around, go, okay, satisfaction isn't here. He'd look over, see another mountain, climb down and go and climb that one. And God just said, go Solomon, go, climb them all. I'm going to let you climb to the top of every one. None of us even get to experience the top of one of these mountains. Solomon climbed to the top of all of them. All of them. And God just said, go. And here's what I want you to do, Solomon. When you get to the end of your life, tell him that it wasn't there. Climb up to the top of Money Mountain and yell back down, satisfaction is not here. Stop climbing. It doesn't matter how much money you get. The satisfaction's not here. Climbs to the top of Accomplishment Mountain and he yells back down to you. Guys, it doesn't matter what you're doing right now. It doesn't matter your little pet projects. Satisfaction is not here. Wisdom, knowledge, learning, laughter, silliness, alcohol, money, work, bedroom, relationships. He climbed to the top of all of those mountains. And he's yelling back down to us. Guys, it's not here. That soul level satisfaction that you think is up here isn't. It's not here. Solomon was a grand experiment for us to be able to see, so we don't have to try. We don't have to climb to the top of the mountain to find out. God sent Solomon. So what does that mean? Are we cursed to walk this earth in an unsatisfied state? Always hungry, always thirsty, never satisfied. As depressing as the book of Ecclesiastes is, and it is a depressing book, just so you know, if you read Ecclesiastes, it sounds like an interesting book. You're going to be sad at the end of it, just so you know. But Solomon did not leave us hopeless in this book. He actually, I think the reason he's so dark in a lot of this is because he's trying to push us towards something. You know what I mean? He's trying to really show you, hey, it's not here, it's not here, it's not here. Go this way. And he leaves a little clue in Ecclesiastes 3, verse 7, or 3:11. Yet God has made everything beautiful for its time. He has planted eternity in the human heart. But even so, people cannot see the whole scope of God's work from beginning to end. That's huge right there. Huge. One little line, but tons of meaning in there. So the first thing he says, though, is that God has made everything beautiful for its own time. So I just want to point out, these are good things. God created these things. God created wisdom and learning and knowledge. God created laughter and silliness and having fun. God created alcohol. He did. God created work and projects and accomplishments. God created money. God created the bedroom, amen. And God created relationships, okay? God created all this stuff, and it's good. It's good, it's good, it's good. But it's not God. So Solomon points out, hey, these are good things. All the stuff I've experienced in my life, it's beautiful, it's good, but there's something deeper. There's something deeper. There's something inside your soul that's eternal. Something way bigger than you think. Way bigger than you think. God planted something inside of you. And that's why you're always hungry for something more. You're always satisfied. That's why even when you're happy, your heart's longing for a change. Because when you're happy, you're not finding your happiness in the true thing that your heart really wants. It's just a side thing. That dissatisfaction, that void is eternity-sized. It is infinite in your soul. God designed you in such a way that you cannot be satisfied with anything on this earth. That's why nothing works. It's not supposed to. You can have a full fridge, a full house, a full closet, a full bank account, a full social life, a full mind, a full stomach, a full liquor cabinet, a full resume, a full bedroom, and an empty soul. The thing that is missing is a vibrant, living relationship with your Creator. That's what's missing. That's why you haven't found it down here. That's why Solomon kept saying, if you look at the book of Ecclesiastes, he kept saying, under the sun, under the sun, under the sun. Everything meaningless under the sun. Because the only thing above the sun is God. If you look down here for satisfaction, you are not going to find it. You got to look up. It is in your relationship with your Creator. And God created you that way, to long for a relationship with Him. It's a clue that you were created for more than just this world. You're supposed to catch that. Your heart really wants a relationship with God. If you look at John 6:35, Jesus said this, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never be hungry again. Whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. You know Jesus isn't talking about food and hydration there, right? Something deeper there. Not physical bread, not physical water. He's talking about your soul, the hunger of your soul, the thirst of your soul. The thing Solomon sought to fulfill, the thing that this song is talking about. Are you happy? Do you need more? Is there something you're searching for? The resounding message of the Bible is yes, there is. There's something more. There's something more. You're looking and looking and looking, but you're looking in the wrong place. There is more. You are searching for a relationship with your Creator. You've tried all these other things, but the reason you haven't found it is because you have not looked in the right place. So let me say this to you today. If you're not a Christian, so maybe you're here, kind of hanging out, watching the kids, and it's 1,000,000 degrees in here, and this guy's been talking forever, and you're like, what the heck? So if that's you, and you're not a Christian today, I want to talk to you just for a minute. Can I ask you, just like this song asks, are you happy? Not happy, but happy. Are you satisfied? When you lay your head down on the pillow at night, do you think, yeah, this is it. I'm great. Or do you realize that there is something more? Is there something gnawing at you that you know that there's something more? Your soul was created for more. Even when you're happy, there's something missing. If that's you, man, I just want to invite you today to start a relationship with God, to admit that I've looked for everything and it's not here. And to surrender your life to God, to admit a desire that is beyond this world. And if you really want to have a relationship with God, if you really want that, the way to do it is through Jesus. Jesus is the way. Jesus created the way by dying on the cross in our place for our sins. He opened the door to God, and all we have to do is put our faith, our trust in him, and everything you've ever done is wiped away. You're forgiven, you're clean, and you can start that relationship and begin to have your soul be satisfied by the one thing that can actually do it. So if you're not a Christian, you've never made that commitment, man, I just want to invite you today. Whisper under your breath, God, I give you my life. Give you my life. I'm done trying. I'm done searching. I'm exhausted. I need more, God. Just make that confession today. Put your faith, put your trust in Jesus and what he did on the cross. And that can begin the process of your soul finding the thing that it's searching for. Now, if you are a Christian, by the way, if you're not a Christian, don't leave here today without doing that. If God's tugging in your heart right now, don't leave here without doing it. But if you are a Christian, and you're sitting here thinking, well, even though I do have a relationship with God, I'm still kind of feeling this. Maybe what you've done is allowed some good things in your life to become God things. You know what I mean? You've allowed some good things that God created to kind of nudge him out of the center of your life. And you are now, in reality, looking to those things to fulfill you when you should be looking to God to fulfill you. Your heart, your soul has slipped away from God. You've placed something else at the center of your life. You're asking something else to do what only God can do. And by the way, that's what's so freeing about this idea. The moment you put God at the center of your life, the moment you search for a deep soul satisfaction in God, it frees everything else up in your life. It's the most freeing thing in the world. Your spouse can now just be your spouse. Once you find that satisfaction in God, they don't have to be the thing anymore. They can just be your spouse. It's so freeing to them. They can't live under the weight of your dissatisfaction. That's why they're crumbling. You're asking them to do something in your soul that they are not qualified to do. Only God can do that. So if you find your satisfaction in God, they can just be your spouse. Same thing's true with your job. If you're asking your job to fulfill you, I don't know why you would do that. But if you are, and you're wondering why it's not, stop. Allow God to be the thing that fulfills your soul, and then your job can just be a job. Your kids can just be kids. Money can just be money. Experiences can just be experiences. The bedroom can just be the bedroom. Wine can just be wine. Relationships can just be relationships. They don't have to be God anymore. Maybe your problem is that you've been asking these things in your life to do more than they are qualified to do, and you need to direct your heart up. Allow God to fulfill your soul. And then these things will be freed up to be enjoyed again. All these things in your life are good things, but they cannot satisfy your soul. So are you happy? Or do you need more? Going way back, St. Augustine said this: our hearts are restless until they find their rest in you. And if that's you, just know that it's here. That thing your soul wants, it's God. You got to direct your heart there, and then everything else will fall into place.